I love this one, and I'm going to tell you why I love this journal. This is an ad that came out of a 1920s needlework magazine, and it's advertising Sutton's Buttons by Schwanda. And then I got these buttons that I put on here from a jar of buttons that I got off of an auction for the set of the Canadian show Anne with an E, which is a very special show to me, of course, because it's about the East Coast. So I've added that to the cover, and I left it very simple, some lace down the side. I beaded this with an old wooden bead as well. But I love these vintage buttons. They're over 100 years old, most of them. And this is the original book front here, which is an old map. I think that's fantastic. And I used an old butternick pattern, butterick, here, which looks like it's, oh my gosh, from the 70s, 60s, 70s. And then some old invoice sheets here that you can journal on, add more in. This is from a ledger from the 1920s. Just be careful with it, it's a little brittle, but definitely you can write on that, have fun with that. And then of course you know that I make all of my own tag inserts, and you can journal on the fronts and backs of those. And I make the pockets out of all the vintage paper. This is from an old classroom book on accounting and bookkeeping. And we have more beautiful tags in here for journaling on. The Black Widow book page here. And of course I've hand stamped throughout the book just to give it some more vintage images. And this is an old envelope that I've done more distressing to. Little tuck spots here and at the top. And in here. More spaces here. That bookkeeping book again. And I made this envelope, it's just actually, so just a little tuck spot. There's two in here, one in the back and then another one in the front. And I used old cigar bands there to decorate that one with. There's that old ledger again, and I didn't want it to lose its charm with where the staples were that I've taken out, so I left that in. You can use the front and back of that as well. And just a little hidden spot here. Yeah, I didn't want to cover up too much of that old book page. I think it's really lovely. And I've put in more inserts here in this little band. That's a ribbon. And then I've got a tuck spot here with a very old postcard. Isn't that fun? So you can write on the back of that as well. Add your own pages in here. And more spots in here to journal. And an old vintage pattern. I think that's so fun. And here's an envelope that I've made into a place to put your little tags and your journaling pages as well. Very, very old music sheets. Another tag here that I've made. I've added some little embellishments here, kind of a Victorian look. There's our patterns again, more journaling space. There's those great little envelope full of invoices that you can have fun with. This is from an old engineering book. More tuck spots and tags, just so many tags. And this is actually the cover of a book. I just thought it was really cool. I didn't want to throw it out when I used the book up. Believe it or not, this little page, I know it doesn't look like a lot, but it's from a 120-year-old scrapbook. And this great little photograph of this little girl. Isn't that special? Again, back then they made them into postcards so you could mail them out easier. She's quite the happy little girl. And an old postcard of a very kitschy motel. I love that. I think it's hilarious. So a great way to use that old book sleeve. And then just a little bit more journaling spots here. Another one here. Old music sheet again for the piano. More spots here and here. And here, more book pages. More of these lovely Pearls Shop invoices. And there's a pretty old song, St. Valentine's Day, from an old music book. And there's that ledger again from the early 1920s. And the author's note from this book. More journaling spots. So this one is going for $60. Enjoy.